My thoughts are like a Seattle storm raging as the rain pelts my kitchen window. At 32 years of age, I am Evelyn Harper, and I am standing in the gloomy light of my contemporary house with the frigid counter beneath my digits. In front of me, a cup of steaming tea appears serene on the outside, but the aroma is off. Like a warning etched into the air, a metallic taste burns my nostrils and twists my stomach into knots. Leaning against the doorway, my husband Lucas stands out in the dim light. Like a predator preying on human vulnerability, his grin is just wrong. It's too tight and hungry. He adds, "Drink it, Evie," with a silky voice and sparkling eyes that I can't put my finger on. I hesitate, and my hands quiver as I say, "I made it just for you." My fingers nervously brush over the handle of the cup. His and his sister Claire's meals have caused me to pass out 3 times in the past 6 months. Initially, there was her sour and spicy salad. Next, his smoothies, which caused my eyesight to get blurry and dizzy. Finally, her soup almost sent me to the emergency room, where the physicians expressed their disapproval with a dismissive gesture. "Do you have food poisoning?" Question about allergies. Lucas insisted on this point, his voice kind and worried, and always prepared with an explanation. However, an instinctual warning is suddenly piercing my gut. This kind of thing doesn't happen very frequently, and it certainly won't make you tremble in your hospital bed while you wonder why. Like the pounding of my heartbeat, the rain beats relentlessly. From our first late-night giggle to our first peaceful morning together, I trusted him, we made a life, and I loved him through it all. However, this aroma and this tea, it's not a coincidence. Could he be poisoning me? Raw and unfathomable, the inquiry pricks at my chest. As he turns to monitor me, like a hawk, Lucas's smile flickers. One drink might solve all problems, or put an end to them. As my breath quickens, I feel the warmth of the mug in my hand. Before it's too late, I need to know and take action. I will uncover the truth tonight, regardless of the cost. Under a gloomy, rain-soaked sky, Claire Donovan's apartment looms above downtown Seattle, its glass walls shimmering. A subtle, unnerving edge, as if danger had been infused into the morning, mingles with the aroma of rain-damp leather and the buzz of freshly prepared espresso within. As I sit here at Claire's beautiful mahogany table, my nerves are jangling, and I am 32 years old Evelyn Harper. Every sound of the silverware during our monthly family brunch seems to be a warning. Despite being my competitor, Claire Lucas's sister wears her ambition like armor, and her high-rise as sharp as her grin. She is a vice president of marketing. She hates losing, particularly when it's to someone like me, but I've been steadily pilfering her clients at work. Something darker and more ravenous than normal sparkles in her eyes today. The froth from her latte, which looks like a storm on the horizon, dances over the table as she slides it across. She purrs, "For you, Evelyn," her voice pleasant, but dangerously poisonous, like honey disguised as poison. My husband Lucas sits down next to her, his smile wide and his nod rapid. "Get some water, Evie." He looks down at the cup and says it's special. His voice is kind, but his eyes are icy. The metallic aftertaste of the tea I had last night is still lingering in my nostrils, and it's turning my stomach. The aroma of this coffee is even worse. It is harsh and acidic, and it is choking me like a chemical spill. Am I not familiar with this place? I went to the emergency room 6 months ago after choking on Claire's salad. Lucas insisted it was simply terrible lettuce, but I was heaving and gasping for oxygen. His bitter and inappropriate smoothies made me lightheaded and blurry-sighted. Another hospital bed was mine after her soups burned my throat. This happened 3 times in 6 months, and each time they made up reasons, looked pitying, and lied about it. With their heavy, anticipatory gazes pushing in my fingers, dangle over the latte. Unattended, Claire stirs her own cappuccino, her manicured nails shining beneath the chandelier, her sneer barely concealed. She continues, "Lucas is quite the barista now," with a mocking tone in her voice and her eyes fixed on mine as if to dare me to drink. A pounding heartbeat smashes my chest. Has this accident happened again? Just one more move to destroy me? As the liquid's heat brushes against my skin, I pretend to drink from the cup by raising it to my lips and letting it touch my lips. As if waiting for me to trip and fall, their ravenous eyes blaze with fire. I can't stop thinking about the terrifying thought that crossed my head last night. Are they poisoning me? My grin was stiff and forced as I laid the cup down unwashed. I pretend it's delicious as I search their features for an indication. Claire's grin becomes even wider, but Lucas flinches and moves. I will not consume any liquid until I discover what they are concealing. Take this brunch, for example. I intend to win this game. The tempest in my chest is mirrored in the restless Seattle rain that streaks my office window. At the age of 32, I am Evelyn Harper, and I sit here at my desk with the shadows thrown on the walls by the light from my laptop. I can still taste the bitter aftertaste of Claire's breakfast cappuccino and the tea from the night before. Both smell like danger. My fingers dance over the keyboard as my mind reminisces about the first time my body betrayed me 6 months ago. I can still taste the sour metallic aftertaste of Claire's special salad from her apartment. I was naive about the poison creeping in when I trusted her and laughed at her table. After what felt like an eternity, I found myself in the emergency room, slumped over a hospital toilet, choking till my throat ached and trembling like a leaf in a hurricane. There he was, Lucas, his voice so kind, it was almost painful, stroking my hair. "Bad lettuce, Evie, that's all," he said, his expression too serious and his eyes too relaxed. No signs of food poisoning were detected by the physicians. However, they did find an unusual substance in my blood, an unseen shadow. I gave in to his assurances, disregarded my intuition, and brushed it aside. 2 months later, though, his smoothie arrived, and its peculiar flavor made me lightheaded, blurry-visioned, and weak-kneed. Still no answers. After yet another set of testing and another hospital bed. "Evie, you're stressed," Lucas says again, while making an explanation. "It may have been my allergies." Then 3 months ago, Claire's soup burned my throat, sending me back to the emergency room with blaring monitors and a beating heart. It happened 3 times in 6 months, with each occurrence becoming more pronounced and each justification becoming weaker. This is the kind of pattern that doesn't deceive. The agony keeps me rooted as my hands clench and my nails sink into my palms. Their sympathy grins belied a deeper side as Lucas and Claire observed my pain together. Why my efforts are illuminating Tech Corp while her business is faltering, and I'm taking her clients and the spotlight. Am I going to be hurt by that idea of treachery? Stabs with a sharpness that no dagger can match. They had my undivided faith, love, and life. Whoops, I thought they were done with me. A constant drumming of rain is pounding outside, but the fire in my chest is what's propelling me forward at the moment. It is hardly a coincidence that the latte today smelled chemically. They're holding out hope that I'll crumble and ruin everything I've worked for. My determination becomes as solid as steel as my jaw clenches. I will no longer partake in their deceit. I refuse to give them the victory. I am only just beginning this battle of mine. The ambitiously designed glass walls of TechCorp's office frame Seattle's gloomy, rain-splattered sky. Hunched over my desk, a battle zone of notes mock-ups and half-empty coffee cups. I am Evelyn Harper, 32 years old. I saw the Baxter account as a $10 million opportunity to make my imprint in the marketing industry, which is notoriously competitive. But marketing and pitches aren't on my mind right now. Claire's breakfast cappuccino had the same artificial smell as the tea Lucas tried to sell me last night. The 3 trips to the emergency room in 6 months. Claire's salad, his smoothies, and her soups are all filled with uncertainty and deceit. The recollection of those hospital beds is so fresh that it makes my fingers shiver as I dangle over my laptop. With a low, eager voice that cuts through the office buzz of laptops and mumbled negotiations, my colleague Mark Sullivan leans across the partition. "Charlotte has been inquiring about you, Evie." My stomach lowers as a chilly weight settles in. She's obsessed with your health like it's her new hobby. Rival business owner Claire Donovan is Lucas's sister. My campaigns shine brightly in boardrooms while hers fade. My customer list has been steadily growing as a result of my outshining hers in terms of ideas and my presence on every significant account. Could she be that resentful that she would subvert my efforts? Unfiltered and genuine, the idea hits like a blow. I tighten my jawline and nod at Mark while feigning a grin. Even though I respond, "Thanks for the heads up." My voice quivers, revealing the inner turmoil. Mark looks me over with a hint of reluctance before returning to his desk, leaving me to bear the burden of his caution. In the faint office light, my eyes land on Lucas's laptop, which he had accidentally placed on my desk. A thumping heart propels me on. To be honest, I should stop, but the truth is that I do. With a shaky breath, I open it and click on his email. "Neutralize her before Baxter" is the new message, staring back at you from Claire, and it's scary. "See." The words cut deep, causing me to gasp for air. Will it neutralize? How is that significant? The chill of the office, settling into a low rumble, causes my fingertips to tingle. Claire and Lucas conspiring against me. We have 2 days till the Baxter pitch. Even if I pass out again while I'm unwell, I won't miss it. Everything I've worked for the account. The glory is stolen by Claire. As the rain taps like a countdown, my field of view shrinks as the glass walls around me. None of this is paranoia. I shut the laptop, my grip firmer than ever, before my determination becoming stronger by the second. Will they let me go? They should make more of an effort. I'm not only battling for a bargain, it's a struggle for my very survival. A persistent Seattle roar drowns out the clink of silverware, yet the tension strangling the air remains unaffected as the rain pounds Claire Donovan's penthouse windows. Sitting at her polished mahogany table, the brunch drags on like a slow poison, and I, Evelyn Harper, am 32 years old. Like the tea Lucas gave last night and the salad, smoothies, and soups that brought me to the emergency room 3 times in 6 months, the latte in front of me steams with an unpleasant chemical odor that curls upward. Across from me under the chandelier sits Claire, my opponent, and Lucas's sister. Her grin is as keen as a sword, and her marketing VP polish gleams. I'm thriving at TechCorp, she's losing business to my firm, and she looks envious in her fiery eyes. As he relaxes next to her, my husband Lucas shows signs of nervousness through his fidgeting and an overly tight smile. His voice was soft as he urged, "Drink up, Evie." His eyes darted to the latte as if waiting for my reply. The words, "It's special," escape Claire's lips, as she slightly grins. She whispers, "Lucas is quite the barista now," as she stirs her own latte, which she has left unattended, and dares me to have a taste. In my chest, my heart thuds like a battle drum. I can't get that email out of my head, neutralize her before Baxter, and Claire's comments are so sharp and obvious. They would rather have me ill-removed from the Baxter pitch and out of their path. After all the hospitals, the lies, and the anguish, I just can't drink this. However, I require evidence, something to dismantle their pretense. A novel idea is forming in my head. I get to my feet and pretend to fall, sending my latte careening towards Claire's. Wow, I'm so naughty. In the midst of the mayhem, I gasp as I exchange their cups, my grip solid despite the tempest within. As I set Claire's cup down in front of me and mine in front of her, the latte spills, but I manage to catch it. An irritated Claire clips her jawline and rolls her eyes. "Be careful, Evelyn. You might ruin my table." My pulse is pounding as I mutter an apology and sneak inside her study, where the corridor is dark and the rain is a muted roar. With my breath shallow, I lean my phone against a book press record and sneak a glance through the doorway. With unwavering self-assurance, Claire raises. The exchanged latte takes a drink, and then another. Her face contorts and her eyes widen in terror as excruciating seconds pass. The cup falls on the table as she clenches her jaw and suffocates. "What was in it, Lucas?" With a hoarse and frantic voice and a quivering body, she rasps. Lucas gets up from his chair with a thud, his face seeming lifeless. It was on her behalf. His comments were a confession, honest and unfiltered, as he hissed at my vacant seat. I feel a knot in my gut as the reality hits me like a punch. Bile starts to rise. I was supposed to get poisoned. I go out with my phone, my voice composed and unflappable, as I calmly interrupt their frantic state. "It seems like we should dial 911, they exclaim, their arrogant faces crumbling as their expressions go from shocked to terrified. I remain fixed in my stare, despite the fact that my heart is racing. Thank you, but I'm not finished yet. With fluorescent lights swarming like furious bees overhead, the emergency room at Seattle General is a cacophony of beeping antiseptic and raw desperation. The unrelenting Seattle downpour outside is pounding the windows, but it is no match for the mayhem that is breaking out. Claire Donovan lies on a stretcher, her face pale and her body swaying like a leaf caught in a storm. I, Evelyn Harper, a 32-year-old woman, stand rigidly in the antiseptic corridor, my heart racing. She has lost her pompous marketing VP exterior and is now terrified. Her wide, darting eyes reveal that she is betraying me with the poison she intended. As she approaches me, Dr. Susan Carter comes with her gray hair tightly tied back. Her voice is deep and solemn, rising over the din of the nurses and monitors. "Evelyn, we discovered a neurotoxic in her blood. The reality is hitting me like a freight train. It's rare, utilized in pharmaceutical studies, and not something you'd stumble across by mistake." My chest tightens at the thought. Everything from that coffee to Lucas's tea to Claire's meal to all those trips to the emergency room, 6 months of deceit now coming to light. Even though it's pouring outside, I calm my hands and go for my phone to play the brunch recording. "Lucas, what was in it?" Claire asks with a raw, frantic tone in her voice. Next comes a hiss from Lucas, a confession that has been ripped apart. It was for her. The words reverberate through the sterilized air, causing Dr. Carter's pupils to constrict and her jaw to tighten. While lying on the gurney, Claire stirs slightly, her speech coming out as a raspy whisper. In other words, "Nathan gave it to us. Nathan." A recollection flashes across my mind. At Claire's dinner a few months ago, Nathan Wells, a toxicologist who worked with Claire, asked me some strange questions about my health, as if I were an experiment. As he stoops to the floor, perspiration beads on his forehead, and his charisma evaporates. Lucas shambles over to the nearest exit. Even though he mutters, "I need air," security seizes him and firmly pins his arms while he fights for freedom. I take a stand, my voice piercing through his deceit. "Where are you headed, Lucas? Nathan's stuff is clean." I read aloud from the texts I had forwarded from his phone. As Dr. Carter's expression hardens, she glances across at Lucas before returning her gaze to me. "This is attempted murder, Mrs. Harper." She declares her words resonant and conclusive. Lucas's voice quivers and drips with perspiration as he stammers. "This was totally not meant to happen. Slightly ill just enough to halt her progress. Will you please slow down?" The treachery has set my veins on fire and my blood is boiling. With my unwavering stare fixed on him, I draw nearer. "Lucas, why are you trying to stop me? The one with Baxter, my professional life, the love of my life." His expression is one of deep shame as he averts his gaze, and his lack of speech speaks much more than any admission he could make. As I feel the falling weight of their plan, time seems to stand still amidst the flurry of activity in the emergency room, with nurses racing and monitors beeping. A fresh piece of their puzzle. Nathan's name hangs like a shadow over Claire and Lucas, who are both quaking with fear. Every word, every gasp is being recorded by my phone. My voice remains calm and determined as I face Dr. Carter. I need to know what's going on, so make sure she's okay. As security forces cling to Lucas, she nods, her face contorted into a grimace. I am a tempest within, prepared to rip their falsehoods to shreds, even while the rain outside roars. The idea that they could break me was theirs. They are mistaken. This is only the beginning. I can't escape the mental storm that's brewing as the rain beats relentlessly on my office window, a rhythm that echoes around Seattle. Evelyn Harper, here 32 years old, slouched over my desk, the harsh shadows generated by my laptop screen. Still resonating in Claire's mind are the events that unfolded in the emergency room, including her quivering body, Lucas's terrified confession, and the name Nathan, which slipped out of her mouth like a piece of their tangled puzzle. Someone I hadn't seen before, Dr. Nathan Wells, who works as a toxicologist with Claire. Trembling, my hands dangle over the keyboard as my mind retraces 4 months to a dinner in Claire's penthouse where their plot was exposed. The recollection is as sharp as a razor piercing through my resistance. It is vivid and vivid. Sitting across from me, Nathan presented himself as Claire's consultant. The crystal and lighting in Claire's dining room made him look like a specimen under a microscope, and her laughing was overly dramatic and forced. With a faint smile, he asked strange probing inquiries. Has Evelyn ever had any kind of allergy? Odd responses to common beverages and foods, I just laughed it off. Assumed he was simply uncomfortable being a scientist at a social event and shrugged it off. While Claire smirked and knew it all as she watched me devour her special meal. Lucas poured wine, his charisma turned up to 11. The way Nathan's eyes lingered following each bite and sip went unnoticed by me at the time. Lucas stayed at my side, insisting it was just terrible wine, and I spent the next few hours in the emergency room, sick to my stomach, and in excruciating agony from the ache in my body. However, Nathan's inquiries were everything but casual. They were instruments in their sick experiment used as probes and tests. Nails gnaw at my palms as I clench my fists, the agony bringing me back to the here and now. There were others besides Claire and Lucas. I was used as a test subject in their plans by Nathan, who was also their supplier and the one who made their poison. Why I'm taking business away from Claire surpassing her at TechCorp and jeopardizing her empire. Am I going to be hurt by that? The pain of remembering their lies and smiles aggravates the ache of betrayal, which is deeper than any poison. Sitting at their table, I adored Lucas through all of the vows and the quiet moments because I trusted them, and they assessed my suffering, watched me suffer, and then altered their doses accordingly. I am now propelled by the fire within me, even while the rain outside roars and beats relentlessly. I will unravel their web by pulling Nathan's name like a thread. In the moments leading up to the Baxter pitch, they believed they had me completely broken. They are mistaken. Their victim is not I. Oh, I am the last straw for them. Above the gentle rain, outside the bustle of Seattle's elite resounds in TechCorp's ballroom, which glitters beneath chandeliers and is filled with a sea of champagne glasses and fitted suits. At 32 years old, I am Evelyn Harper, and I am standing on the fringe of the audience, with my fists clenched like a war drum and my phone held like a weapon. This mixer is meant for the Baxter account, the $10 million transaction that I've worked so hard to secure, yet there's an electric charge in the air, like if a storm is brewing. Here we have Claire Donovan, my adversary and Lucas's sister. She is out on bail following a hospital stay, and her courage has taken a beating. She's leaning in to schmooze with the Baxter clients, her voice silky smooth, her humor keen, and her VP polish shining. Her words ring out, Evelyn's unreliable, causing everyone to take notice. Her remarks reflected the poison she intended for me, always sick missing deadlines, not someone you'd trust with your brand. I feel my blood boiling and a fire starting to ignite in my chest. Every one of the 6 months that I spent in the emergency room, her salad, Lucas's smoothies, her soups felt like a strategic attack on my life and career. Recollections of the neurotoxic that Nathan had the latte I traded and Lucas's confession in the emergency room continue to fuel me. After what happened in the hospital and with the lingering effects of Claire's falsehoods, I have no business being here, but I refuse to give in to her. My colleague, Mark Sullivan, looks across at me anxiously from across the room. Evie, are you certain about this? Stepping closer, his voice almost discernible amidst the noise, he murmurs. With a firm nod, I clutch my phone closer to my ear, the tape of Claire's breakfast prepared and waiting. My voice is calm and determined as I declare, I have to. As I make my way toward Claire, my heels sounding like a battle cry. As they click on the marble floor, the throng parted and a way became clear. As my voice rises firm and authoritative, the Baxter clients look up in curiosity. Allow me to explain why I've been unwell. I pressed play, and the audio sliced through the whispers in the ballroom. Claire asks Lucas what was in it in a raw, terrified voice. After this, Lucas hisses an accusatory confession. It was for her. The audience goes into hysterics as everyone turns to look at Claire. The Baxter clients stand still, their expressions becoming pale with horror. The varnish on Claire's nails breaks her grin, wavers, and her eyes dart like an ensnared animal. With a piercing, hard glare, she begins, Evelyn, you can't, but I interrupt her. Claire, you poisoned me. You, Lucas, and Nathan are going to ruin me by stealing this account. As my remarks loom on the air, the room goes quiet as the onslaught of shocked and judgmental whispers from the audience builds. As the security detail approaches, they place their hands firmly on Claire's arms, silencing her cries of protest, along with one shook head and another mumbling, "Unbelievable." The Baxter clients retreat, their faith in her broken. Claire is led out her career in ruins, her heels dragging her angry eyes burning with frustration. But she feels helpless at this point. With a firm voice and a ferocious glare, I address the throng. I am dependable. I made it through, and I'm prepared to spearhead your campaign, the Baxter Group says, with a nod and a hint of admiration in their eyes. Mark draws nearer, a little grin slipping his lips. He murmurs to me, "You did it, Evie," as he brushes against my shoulder. My heart is still pounding, but it's lighter now that I've met his eyes and nodded in response. Outside the rain is easing, but within I have returned my power, a flame that they cannot put out. I was buried according to Claire. You're mistaken. I'm on the rise, and this is only the start. With its towering ceilings that engulf the whispers of the crowded gallery, the King County Courthouse has an aroma of polished wood and subdued terror. The burden of month 6 trips to the emergency room, a poisoned latte and a web of lies presses on my chest. As I sit in the first row, my hands clutch tightly and my knuckles white. My name is Evelyn Harper, and I'm 32 years old. Even though the rain is tapping the windows outside Seattle like a regular pulse, the air inside seems heavy and tense, like just before a storm explodes. Every day of the trial has been like a hammer striking truth from lies. It has gone on for weeks. Sitting in the defendant's box are my sister-in-law, Claire Donovan, and her husband, Lucas Harper. Their features are lifeless, and their charisma and radiance are taken away. With her eyes wandering restlessly, Claire has lost her crisp VP sneer. Lucas averts his eyes from me, his shoulders down, an exposed coward. Standing in the witness stand, Detective Rachel Brooks's voice breaks the quiet like a blade, each syllable exact and unwavering. Dr. She proudly displays the lab records of Nathan Wells, stating that they prove he took the neurotoxic. The pages of the paperwork stand out under the bright courtroom lights. To undermine her Baxter pitch, Lucas sent letters to Claire that detailed Evelyn's sicknesses in a methodical, scheduled fashion. "She can't make Baxter," Claire texted. "Dose her again." The thought of that coffee and its sickly smell makes my stomach turn as it resurfaces this time, connected to Nathan and their cold-blooded brutality. Following that, Dr. Susan Carter steps onto the stand, her voice composed yet commanding as she ties back her gray hair. The neurotoxin in Claire's latte could have been fatal in higher doses, she says our gazes, locking a hint of empathy slipping through her empathetic lips. Evelyn's previous trips to the emergency room revealed the same chemical, and its levels had been steadily rising. The audience mutters in disbelief, but I remain still, the reality weighing heavily on my heart. For the sake of Claire's envy, Lucas's avarice, and Nathan's poison, those salad smoothies and soups, each one brought me one step closer to my demise. Prosecutors play my brunch recording, which included Claire's gasping voice asking what was in it. "It was for her," Lucas said, his voice resonating. The jurors leaned forward, expressions glum, as the sentences landed like blows. The screen displays my sent texts with Lucas's condemnatory words. "Nathan's stuff is clean." "She'll long for Baxter," Claire says as she sways her hands shaking, and Lucas buries his face in his hands looking dejected. Even though their source Nathan is facing charges elsewhere after his involvement was discovered, Claire and Lucas are the ones who end up taking the hit. the judge's booming, concluding voice reverberates through the room, prone to the death penalty for this calculated betrayal, which included a plot to hurt a family member, attempt to kill, secret plot. They are dragged away as handcuffs click a chilly and piercing sound. Claire's once fiery eyes were a final flame of rebellion, but they are now lifeless. Even as his falsehoods shattered, Lucas dropped his head and refused to look at me. The tightness in my chest eases as I let out a breath, and a wave of relaxation washes over me like rain. Defeated and proven justice is mine. While the courtroom becomes vacant, I remain the rain outside, abating while my heart remains calm. Despite their best efforts, I remain unbreakable. Enthusiastic energy fills the air at the Seattle Convention Center, where towering windows frame the city skyline and golden lights dance over the polished flooring of the enormous hall. Standing here a year after the trial that shattered my world and then put it back together again, I am 32 years old, and my name is Evelyn Harper. Hundreds of business people, all dressed sharply and with anticipation on their faces, are milling about me at the Northwest Marketing Summit as I prepare to give my keynote speech. Months of betrayal and survival have sparked a fire within me, and my heart beats steadily, not from fear, but from purpose. Outside, the rain in Seattle has subsided into a soothing patter rather than the raging tempest that reflected my inner turmoil. My grasp on the stage tightens as my voice reverberates across the crowd. My voice pauses as I start to explain that success requires more than simply natural ability. A hush falls over the audience as they listen to my narrative, some bending over or nodding in agreement, while I describe what it's like to survive betrayal and to rise above those who would bring you down with falsehoods and poison. I won't get into the specifics. The cappuccino Claire was going to poison me with the smoothies and salads that Lucas made, the 6 trips to the emergency room that almost shattered me. Neither the trial that imprisoned Nathan nor his neurotoxin are mentioned here. Instead, I talk about how it made me stronger and more focused. I learned to trust my instincts, I say with conviction, to fight for what's mine no matter the cost. People in the audience are captivated, some taking notes and talking, and I feel motivated. This 3-year renewal of the Baxter account, the $10 million deal that Claire and Lucas attempted to steal, is proof that my campaigns can light up boardrooms. My name is on every significant deal, and my ideas are transforming the business. I'm a top executive at TechCorp. Playing the recording at the TechCorp mixer caused Claire's business to go bankrupt and her image to take a nosedive. The letters Lucas sends from behind bars are ones I never open because I find their contents to be empty and useless, building a future they can't touch. I chose progress over hatred. Wrapping up, I look around the audience and raise my voice to a ferocious level. Sometimes you have to deal with people who bring out the worst in you, but you may stand taller, brighter, and unstoppable. The roar of the crowd boosts me up, but it's the influx of young professionals that follows that ignites a more profound fire. With her eyes wide with curiosity, a woman wonders, "How did you manage to keep going?" I respond with a smile. My answer straightforward and honest. Know that you are capable. They take my words to heart and nod in agreement, their expressions reflecting their unwavering resolve. As I exit the platform, the cheers die down, but the serenity within me resounds a calm that I have worked hard to acquire. As the rain outside reflects the city lights, I am reminded that this is a triumph for me as much as for them. The steady rhythm of the city surrounds me as I go down the waterfront, the rain softly tapping against my umbrella and the whisper of Seattle. The crisp air carries the aroma of sea and freedom as I walk slowly and deliberately 32 years old Evelyn Harper. The lights of the skyline provide a reassuring promise. As they peek through the rain, a stark contrast to the raging storm that engulfed me earlier. My husband Lucas's smile masked a blade as I stood in my kitchen a year ago, looking at poisoned tea. As I sipped my death-laced espresso at Claire's breakfast, her sly grin dared me to take a sip. Salads, smoothies, and soups were their falsehoods, and I nearly broke after 6 trips to the emergency room. I may still bear the marks of their treachery, but I am stronger and more entire today. Listening to the waves crash against the pier, I take a moment to think on the lessons I've learned, lessons that anybody confronting their own demons might benefit from. Put your trust in your gut first, a knot in your stomach, a murmur of uncertainty. It's the truth coming out of you. Their poison was that latte, but mine rescued me. Also, make sure to document everything. When no one else could see the reality, the dates, recordings, and texts served as my protection. Claire wrote "neutralize her" in an email, and Lucas recorded a hiss saying, "It was for her. Justice was served by them." Thirdly, go with resiliency rather than vengeance. Claire's business went bankrupt, Lucas went to jail, and their lives were in shambles, but I didn't bring it all down. As I rose through the ranks, my name became a light. At TechCorp, I won the Baxter account, and I gave a keynote speech at the summit. Resisting the urge for vengeance allowed me to break free. Lastly, be careful while selecting your circle. The bonds of blood aren't the exclusive definition of family. When Claire and Lucas brought me down, I was raised up by the calm support of Mark Sullivan, the piercing justice of Detective Rachel Brooks, and the solid truth of Dr. Susan Carter. I imagine you out there taking a bitter drink as I watch the rain rippling the lake. Perhaps it is the deceit of a friend, the act of sabotage by a colleague, or the lying of a loved one. You share in Evelyn's struggle as well. You have the guts to confront the ones who would want to bring us down, but we all have our share of dark sides. Staying strong in the face of adversity is the theme of my narrative, not only my ability to survive poison. With a full heart, I turn the city's warmth behind me. Standing up and believing in my strength are lessons I learned on my journey. What about you? You're also quite strong in that area. Which bitter drink do you prefer rise above it?